we have the scissor from PvpDavid. It's met up with the ferret from Boom.
Of course, Scizor wins the charge attack priority here with the Night Slash, but the sucker punches are adding up so much, Swift will deal significant damage.
This is such a weird matchup because you'd think that the normal type charge attacks, they won't do as much to that scissor, and that scissor as a steel type will take this matchup. That is actually not true. The ferret has great play against the scissor, and that's why Boom is staying in this matchup. PvpDavid is going for the Night Slash here because they pace equally fast, and you'll be able to win the scenario where no shields are used. Now, this can give Boom a slight energy advantage, and we've seen both trainers do this so much with their scissor or their other Pokemon because both trainers have the Unova Stunfisk. So the scissor is kind of checked in. Comes scissor, you have one bullet punch advantage. PvpDavid knows which Pokemon to bring in.
Here, Unovan Stunfisk locking into his target, goes into the Unovan, maybe trying to catch a move, but he has so much energy, no, doesn't throw that energy, doesn't fall for it, goes into the Altaria.
Both trainers holding on to their energy. The thing is, PvpDavid would have thrown the Mud Bomb anyway, but if you catch the Mud Bomb on an Altaria as PvpDavid, that would have been wicked. But Boom has the patience. He unleashes the discharge there on that Altaria, which paces quicker nowadays. However, it's not the strongest charge attack. But Altaria also has flamethrower to throw here. And the thing is, because not the same type of attack bonus, it won't threaten the Stunfisk as much.
Altaria reaches the first flamethrower. Boom knows he can endure this move. No shields immediately.
And now, let's see how these trainers are going to continue this. It looks like Boom is trying to switch out. I'm not sure if you want to try catch a flamethrower here, but oh, we see the Night Slash being unleashed before PvpDavid could throw a charge. Like, this will stall the clock just a little bit, but I think you also kind of wanted this energy for the Stunfisk. Now you have energy as PvpDavid, and he's going for the Sky Attack, which will deal a lot of damage. I think it does more than the Mud Bomb from Stunfisk, and so does Boom. So he puts up a Protect Shield here. I think now he can bring the Stunfisk, though.
Scizor using his first protection, but this Unovan Stunfisk has two Mud Bombs loaded. Can the Scizor endure the Mud Bomb damage? Reach another move.
This is not a strong attack, trust me, but it actually hits quite well on that Scizor, going for the Night Slash. I think Boom was hoping to get a charge attack pretty tight here. PvpDavid maybe lost track of energy here, shielding a Night Slash. The Trailblaze definitely would have done a lot of damage, but Boom wasn't there just yet. And I think that a Mud Bomb would have done a little bit more damage. Boom was trying to save that Scizor, but he wasn't able to.
And look at how much energy this Unovan Stunfisk has. Boom uses his last Protect Shield. Does this Unovan Stunfisk tank a Mud Bomb to reach the two Mud Bombs he needs to KO the opposing Stunfisk?
PvpDavid wins charge attack priority here. Important information. This Mud Bomb will take the Stunfisk very low. I think at this point, perhaps you can get the Mud Bomb off on this Stunfisk from PvpDavid, but remember that PvpDavid still has Altaria left as well. It has neutral Dragon Breath damage. He's going to bring it in. The Mud Bomb did not actually do that much damage, but because of the switch, it looked like that. And PvpDavid, he takes game number 1.
A sigh of relief from PvpDavid, as he knows that every game versus Boom counts. Gets to his win here. That energy management, loading up on that double Mud Bomb before swapping out, that was great patience by PvpDavid, knowing that you get more value out of the Altaria into the Unovan Stunfisk, and then you're forcing the Stunfisk to throw discharges, which is non as optimal move.
In this matchup, I would feel like the best player in this moment is going to win here. It's a mirror matchup. There's almost no hard alignment here, except if one trainer decides to bring the Florges. But truthfully, there's hardly any reason to bring the Florges when either trainer can bring that Scizor at any point. The worst you can probably face in that scenario is gonna be the Scizor into Unova Stunfisk, but even then you have Trailblaze coverage. So there's a lot of neutral play that we have in this mirror team, and both trainers are ready for game number 2.
Boom, relying on this Shadow Scizor like he did all weekend. But we have leads. We have the Ferret Mirror once again. Let's see who wins.
All right, chat, who do you think is going to win Charge Security Tie here? Apparently, both Ferret have about the same attack here. So we have no idea who's going to win Charge Security Tie in that case. And we actually do see the Florges from Boom in the back. Both trainers brought the Stunfisk as well.
And looking at that Florges, it has coverage versus everything that PvpDavid brought.
Oh.
Great call by Boom.
But he goes for the Trailblaze instead of the Swift. That tells me that Boom values this Ferret just a little bit more than PvpDavid might. You do take the next Swift here as Boom. However, I'm not sure if you can get to another Charge now, because now you needed more damage to get there.
Can Boom withstand this last Swift to get to the parting Swift?
Can he take one more?
He gets to one more! Can Boom guarantee switch advantage here?
He does. The thing is, Boom, switch advantage is really nice here. Now you're thinking, okay, I can align my Stunfisk to Scizor, but PvpDavid didn't bring any Scizor. In comes Unovan Stunfisk. Now Boom brings in the Florges, and you know why? That is because he fears the Scizor. Now you have an energy advantage, and even though the Florges has super effective charge attack damage here, the Stunfisk will win this matchup if no shields are used at all.
Florges taking the first Mud Bomb, non-debuff. Boom doesn't care about debuffing, he wants to ramp up this Florges, goes for the Trailblaze.
I like this play from Boom. Now your Fairy Wind damage will also add up, or even a Chilling Water into a Scizor potentially if it was in the back. But I would think that in the next charge attacks, perhaps you would go for the Chilling Water, because otherwise you do get outpaced by the Stunfisk, and the Thundershocks would add up enough that the next Bomb Bomb will knock out at some point. So let's see if Boom is going for the Trailblaze or the Chilling Water here. He is going for the Chilling Water because he wants to take on the final charge attack at some point, and putting up the final Protect Shield. PvpDavid kind of has to, because if he lets the Stunfisk go, this Florges is going to debuff the Altaria in the back, and then you cannot clear it anymore.
Great call by Boom, throwing the Chilling Water. Even then, he throws up the Protectile. He's noticing, PvpDavid is staying a bit too long. Maybe he's weak to Florges in the back.
It's gotta be the Altaria.
Ramping up on the energy. Charge attack priority with the Chilling Water.
And now we see the final Protect Shield come up from PvpDavid. This Mud Bomb might just be the most important charge attack in this battle, because if Florges hang on and it can get to a charge attack into the Altaria, the game is over. Boom would win then, but it's double debuffed. It doesn't do enough damage, and no, he's staying in. He's going for the Chilling Water. He's going to knock out this Stunfisk. It's gonna be Stunfisk versus Altaria for the end game.
Great patience here by PvpDavid, recognizing that the Stunfisk were pressure enough the Florges. It's the swap, Altaria versus Unovan Stunfisk. Altaria with the flamethrower coverage, but Unovan Stunfisk is so fast to this discharges, already almost with 2 loaded.
This used to be a decent matchup for that Altaria because of the Dragon Breath being so oppressive, but now you rely more on your charge attacks, and the charge attack flamethrower here is not the same type of attack bonus. It's not going to deal as much damage as otherwise the Dragon Breath before the rework would have done. So I think Altaria needs 2 charge attacks at the very minimum. Can this Stunfisk get to enough discharge here?
Stunfisk 1 Thundershock away from the back-to-back. This is gonna be a tight race. Altaria closing up on that flamethrower.
And let's see, Altaria still hangs on there for just a little bit. In comes the flamethrower. This won't be enough to knock out just yet. This Stunfisk has a discharge loaded. We'll be able to get a few more Thundershocks in, but are those Thundershocks going to be enough to knock out before getting Dragon Breath down? I think Stunfisk might have this.
Stunfisk throws the discharge. Boom, hoping to tie up the series. Is this enough to knock out?
It's not just yet, but can you get the Dragon Breath down or the Thundershock down? Stunfisk, Boom, takes game number 2. He ties up the score.
Stunfisk with that pacing. 5 Thundershocks for the first one. 4 Thundershocks for the second one.
It's so fast.
It's so fast and comes in clutch versus the Altaria. If it was any bit slower, Altaria would have Dragon Breath down.
I think if Altaria had like Moonblast or Dazzling Gleam or Dragon Pulse, it would have had a much more comfortable matchup into that Stunfisk, because those charge stacks hit harder. You do get to those 2 charge stacks as the Altaria, as we saw, 2 flamethrowers. It got the Stunfisk low, but it did not get the knockout. But you cannot give up the flamethrower coverage, basically. Moonblast or Dazzling Gleam are hardly necessary to win against those Dark-type Pokémon, while Flamethrower is really needed into something like a Corviknight or sometimes even a Scizor.
Yeah, and Boom is carrying both. He's been relying on that Shadow Scizor so much during this championship. He is able to tie it up. I like the adjustment from Boom going into that Florges. It had pretty good play into PvpDavid's whole team.
Right, and I saw a comment from Home Slice Henry that Boom was actually the first one to bring Florges in his matchup, but actually PvpDavid also brought Florges in the winners finals. Florges has been really good in his tournament, and ever since it got that Chilling Water, it's actually a Pokemon that can really hang on with so many of these Pokemon. The only one you have to be careful of here is going to be the Scizor, and in this exact game, David didn't bring the Scizor, so Florges looked really good.
And now that's where the mind games start picking up. Scizor is the hardest check David has for Florges. Otherwise, it's pretty free into his team. Will he rely on that Scizor, and will Boom respond back with that Corviknight?
We're gonna find out very shortly. Boom has locked in. PvpDavid now also has locked in. We're 1-1 in this first grand finals here. Game number 3, Altaria from Boom. It's gonna be lined up into the Stunfisk. We've seen this matchup just at the end of the previous game. Stunfisk will win this matchup very closely, and I think Boom is very happy to see this here because he has Scizor in the back.
Yeah, Scizor in the back lurking. I think PvpDavid's idea is to potentially lure out that Scizor with one of his back Pokemon to allow the other one to sweep, but not before it was a discharge, trying to put some dent on this Altaria's HP.
Yeah, I think you just want to get... Oh, looks like he preserves the Altaria right away, and now PvpDavid probably going for the infamous chip and dip, where you throw a charge stack and then swap into another Pokemon, probably to keep the switch advantage, or just keep the Stunfisk around going into the Altaria. And I think this is a pretty decent play for PvpDavid, because when shields are up, the Scizor otherwise would be really tough. Now you keep the Stunfisk for the Scizor, and even Furret has good play into it as well.
Altaria reaching the sky is barely enough to KO. Boom as back-to-back Swifts, hoping to put a dent into this Altaria.
Here we go. Can you get the Dragon Breath down and then come out with some energy here? We're gonna see Altaria drop to about 50% health after the first Swift, and now it will drop almost into the red after the next Swift.
Altaria hoping to get the Dragon Breath down. Boom doesn't allow that. Aggressively pivots into the Scizor.
Can you get to the Sky Attack here? It's going to be a pivotal moment. Can Altaria hang on? Yes, it barely gets there.
Boom not going for the charge attack priority, instead choosing to preserve that energy on the Scizor, puts up the first Protect Shield.
And now what do you bring in? You probably bring in the Stunfisk here, but Boom is going for the bait, a risky play, but PvpDavid is not taking any chances. Shields up, the Knights, Trailblaze would have gotten really close to knocking out otherwise.
Yeah, with the chip damage that the Zonovan Stunfisk already has, Trailblaze would threaten a knockout, reaches the first Mud Bomb before the Trailblaze is reached by Boom.
And we see Boom expand his next shield as well. Scizor is a fragile Pokemon and is a Pokemon that really wants those shields as well. The timer's almost up for Boom. I think if you want to keep this Scizor, you might want to try to catch a charge stack. Can he catch a Mud Bomb on the Altaria potentially, or does he sacrifice the Ferret? Oh, he does try, but we see PvpDavid wait, and now coming in with the Ferret and keeps all the energy for that Scizor later.
This Altaria almost has 2 Sky Attacks. Great patient by PvpDavid. He knows that he needs that energy for the Scizor. Ferret takes the first Sky Attack in the chin. Will he endure the first Sky Attack? Doesn't throw. Boom! Reaches the Swift, the Ferret.
The thing for PvpDavid is here though, yes, he has all that energy on the Stunfisk, but Stunfisk is defensive. It will lose Charge Stack priority tie. That means that when both Pokemon throw the Charge Stack at the same time, Stunfisk will not be able to do that before Scizor. If Scizor can get 1 or 2 more bullet punches, it's very close to the Trailblaze. It would defeat the Stunfisk. So actually losing this matchup as PvpDavid might be more favorable for him.
Altaria has the back-to-back
Oh, man.
reaches a flamethrower into this Unovan Stunfisk. We thought it was enough to KO, but it will put it dangerously low.
You're gonna be in nice range now. PvpDavid is going to need to make a catch here. Does he throw immediately? No. In comes the Scizor. It's Charge Stack for the tie!
Boom! With the heads-up play, he was 1 bullet punch away. PvpDavid doesn't react fast enough, and boom! Gets a 2-1 heads-up win!
Wow, what an incredible mind game that we had there, because I think maybe PvpDavid was anticipating the immediate swap into the Scizor so Boom could get that head start, but then he waited just a little bit. He was looking at the screen. Boom did 1 fast attack, then swapped into the Scizor, and he got to the charge stack, throwing PvpDavid off and winning that 3rd game. Tremendous play.
I don't blame PvpDavid. It has been a long
It's so rough.
day.
It's tough.
It's such a long day, and he had to react in just a second pretty much to be able to tap that Mud Bomb just before the Night Splash came through. Great heads-up play by Boom. Recognize I don't have the fast move, but if I throw my opponent off the game with the timings a little bit, maybe I can reach it. He just gets the 2-1 lead in this grand finals.
You only have like half a second to react to this kind of stuff. Old men like us, we're not going to be able to do that. But these trainers, these young competitors, they are the ones who can pull this kind of stuff off. And then the mind games come in play. Because as PvpDavid, you're already thinking ahead. Is my opponent going to swap immediately or not? Do I throw my charge stack immediately or not? And we saw him like waiting just a little bit, anticipating it. And then Boom just does that a little bit later. And it just gets so rough there. But we're going to get straight into game number 4 there. Can Boom close it out and reset the bracket? Or is they going to make a comeback to tie up to 2-2? We have the Altaria into the Ferret.
This time, David chose to bring that Scizor, and in the back from Boom, there's that Florges once again. Can PvpDavid get the alignment he needs, neutralizing that Fairy type?
Swift's coming in, good neutral damage from the third. As we've seen, we're gonna see this matchup many times today. Altaria can take it. The Sky attack is the same type of attack bonus and it's gonna do very solid damage as well. But we know how this matchup goes. Altaria will barely win it.
Altaria almost reaching a second Sky attack. First Sky attack comes through. Here comes the Unova Stunfisk and Ferret counter swap.
Immediately answered with the third that has access to Trailblaze. Trailblaze is a grass type charge stack that not just only hits for super effective damage, it also boosts the attack by 1 stage. And if PvpDavid is going to ramp up that third, it's going to be a big problem here for Boom. But I think this is not his first concern. I think what his real concern here is he has the Florges in the back. As Boom, you're kind of hoping at this point it's not going to be Scizor in the back for PvpDavid.
PvpDavid hasn't been relying on that Scizor as much, and Boom making a gamble here, trying to chip this Ferret as much as he can. Almost 1 Thunder Shock away from another Mud Bomb. Can this Unova Stunfisk deal with the Ferret? Charge attack, but no, Boom doesn't fall for it, goes for the Swift, PvpDavid.
Swift is going to knock out this Stunfisk. Does Boom use a protection? I wouldn't have been surprised if he did and tried to keep it for potential Scizor. In comes the Florges, and PvpDavid knows at this point. He's just going to leave this Swift here as a parting gift on the Ferret, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see that Scizor coming afterwards is going to pop off.
Interesting here, PvpDavid chooses to stay in, giving a lot of energy to this Florges. It almost has back-to-back Chilling Water. Here comes the Scizor, first Chilling Water coming through.
Does that give him any play? Because Chilling Water still will do a good amount of damage, and now that this Florges has so much energy, it will actually put a dent in this Scizor. The Bullet Punch damage will actually be even doing less. However, PvpDavid could potentially swap out in the Altaria still, because then it can clear this debuff that it gets now.
That's not what he does. Ferret goes for the Swift. This will put a good dent into the Scizor. And let's not forget that Bullet Punch damage is reduced 2 attack stages. So it's going to be hard to take this Ferret down.
Does David stay in? He keeps the Trailblaze here. He now, oh man, that's another Swift here. Is this going to knock out? PvpDavid still has a lot of energy on the Altaria, but I'm not sure if the Altaria and the Scizor can pull through. Swift doesn't knock out just yet. Scizor hangs on, has a little bit of energy, and now the Altaria comes in immediately to pull the final shield. But you can't shield this as Boom because that Scizor also has a Trailblaze loaded.
And now the question is here, can this Florges farm down there? No, this is not too much damage. PvpDavid ties up the score 2-2.
Wow, oh my goodness. When Boom was just looking to take the overhand here and get to that bracket reset, he brought the Florges again. He took a risk, and PvpDavid was not having any of that. He was gonna mow down the flowers today with that Scizor, and Scizor did what it needed to do, take out the Florges.
PvpDavid knows that you can't give Boom an inch or you will take your whole arm. Here, 2-2. This is the grand finals. Boom, with everything on the line. If he loses this game, it's over. But for PvpDavid, if he does lose this best of 5, it still has another one, thanks to his performance, staying in the winner's side of the bracket.
Both trainers already have won 1 regional championship. The trainer who wins there will have won 2 of them, and this is the moment. Which card or Pokemon are you going to bring here, your final ace, to potentially either win gold or reset the bracket and potentially bring it to another best of 5.
And the only Pokemon we haven't seen yet has been that Corviknight in this grand finals. I'm hoping maybe to see one of them try to switch it up. Maybe David, because he has can take that risk. Let's see if he does that though. It's Scizor lead into the Altaria. Positive matchup for Boom behind 2 Protect Shields.
Scizor doesn't like any of the charge stack damage, but like you said, looks like swapping into the third right away though, and this is Boom does have the Florges for this matchup, and this time David didn't bring the Scizor. Florges might actually be the play now, going for the nicest, and David puts my protection early on. Now bringing in that Florges. I think this is kind of what David wanted to bait out though, because all the energy later will be resisted by the Altaria, and now the Florges won't be on the Stunfisk. Maybe Stunfisk has play later on.
Yeah, now this energy lead by the Ferret allows it to reach double Swift. Boom choosing to let it go. He knows that the Florges can withstand maybe double up on energy, but I think he will need 2 charge attacks to take out this Ferret.
I definitely think we're not going to see any Protect Shields come in from this Florges, because Boom is likely going to keep those for the Scizor. This Trailblaze won't be able to knock out yet because it wasn't boosted earlier on yet. Do you throw another Charge Attack here? It looks like he's going for the Charge Attack priority tie. And now the question is, can this Altaria get a Dragon Breath down before the next Chilling Water? The thing is, regardless of Chilling Water, that Flamethrower is still going to melt the Scizor. And we see Boom swap immediately, but he goes in with the Stunfisk instead!
And Stunfisk here has the pacing advantage with that 5-4 pacing with the fast move. Since it's already in Mud Bomb range, pulls up the first Protect Shield out of Boom.
This was looking really good for Boom with his alignment because he has that Ferret, but because PvpDavid brought in the Stunfisk now, it's not looking that good anymore. You don't even have that energy advantage, and putting up the Protect Shield on this Trailblaze, I think that Boom is looking to get to 2 of those though, because now shields are down, but you gotta be careful that it won't be caught. Can you even get to the Trailblaze, or does that Stunfisk outpace? I think you're one off here.
Stunfisk putting the pressure on this shield, pulling up the last Protect Shield from Boom. Can this Unova reach a move before the Trailblaze, or will we get a catch? Oh, we get the catch! Catches the double resistant Trailblaze!
What a play by PvpDavid! He wants to become a champion, and this is one way to get started. Looks like Boom is staying in just a little bit. He wants to get an extra bullet punch damage in. This Altaria is already at half HP here. You still have a potential catch on that Florges, but now you almost put this Altaria into Swift range. Tremendous play as well by Boom, anticipating or basically putting in an alternative strategy when the Altaria was brought in.
This Ferret is pacing quickly to the Swifts. Let's not forget that Florges has 1 Fairy Wind worth of energy. Can it reach a move on the end game?
It might not even matter if this Ferret is going to pull through here, but I do believe that the Stunfisk might be one off another attack here. Looks like we swap immediately into the Florges to get a head start, but do you get Thundershock down? Do you get Thundershock down? Do you get to the charge? Oh, he gets the Thundershock down!
PvpDavid looking into the championship. Is this Mud Bomb enough to KO? Can the Ferret reach a Trailblaze?
Stunfisk is not the strongest Pokemon with Charge Attack, but it doesn't matter. It's gonna do the job here for PvpDavid. He gets to the final Charge Attack. PvpDavid is your 2026 Gdańsk Regional Champion!
PvpDavid back into the driver's seat. Last season he performed so well. He had 1 regional championship win, 2 second places, and now back as the king. Gdańsk regional champion. All rise for PvpDavid.
We are so back. His Worlds performance didn't go as he expected. His regional championships were phenomenal last season, and now he's back here in Gdańsk.